Hi everyone, welcome to Connecting with Kim here on Tampa Bay Arts and Education Network. We're so glad that you joined us today. We have a great show for you today. And before we get started, I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, the Spring of Tampa Bay, for my on-air wardrobe, which comes from the Spring Boutique located at Swann and Henderson here in Tampa. If you have not been there, please go and visit them. All net proceeds from the Spring Boutique and the thrift store on North Willow go to support their mission of providing sanctuary and services for survivors of domestic violence, and they've been doing a great job since 1977. So please give them your support. I really appreciate it. So I have a great guest in the chair today. He's been a frequent guest on Connecting with Kim, but the first time here since we've been doing the show at Tampa Bay Arts and Education Network. I am delighted to introduce you, the listening and watching audience, to our Commissioner for District 4, Stacy White. Welcome back, Stacy.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Kim.
It's always a pleasure. And we're going to do this just like we've always done it when we did it for the radio. But, you know, we have so many new people who have moved into Hillsborough County and Tampa Bay area that are going to be watching and listening to the show. So I always like my guests at the top of the show to share a little bit about their life journey, because you just never know when somebody out there listening and watching is going to say, oh, I went to that school, or I'm from that town, or I did that thing. And it will, it sparks their interest, and they'll listen and enjoy everything else you have to share with them.
Yeah, well, thanks for the opportunity, Kim. I'm Stacy White. I represent District 4 on the County Commission, which is eastern Hillsborough County. So think roughly east of I-75. There are portions of the district, though, that go as far north as Pasco County, runs down the Polk County line, and of course goes to Manatee as well. So it's a huge district geographically, because my district is more suburban and rural, so you have a lower population density. So when you look at those 4 single-member county commission districts, mine's the largest in size geographically, because it has a lower population density. But I'm kind of a rarity in that I can trace my family roots back in this county 5 or 6 generations. My family's been here a long time. Grew up in South Hillsborough County. I'm a graduate of East Bay High School, and I'm a pharmacist professionally. I attended pharmacy school at the University of Florida. Really got to know my lovely wife Barbie at the University of Florida. Although she and I did attend East Bay High School together, we knew of each other but didn't really know each other very well. We met at an East Bay reunion at the University of Florida. She's a teacher professionally, got her education degrees from UF. We have 3 lovely children. We've raised our children in this community. They're just about grown. Our last one, our son, is a senior in high school, so next year we'll be empty nesters. Being so deeply rooted in this community, that's what led me to a passion for local politics and made me want to run locally. So I started because my kids were much younger at the time, and right in the middle of their careers in our school system. I ran for the school board in 2010, was successful and was elected, served there for 4 years, and then was elected to the county commission in 2014, and I'm just wrapping up my second and final term. I'm leaving in November because I'm term limited.
Well, and that's a sad story for us in District 4, because you've been a great commissioner for us, and you're universally loved and respected, Stacy, and I think you know that. And we're very happy with our commissioner-elect, Michael Owen. We feel like he's going to follow in your footsteps, and he's going to be a great commissioner. So, as my mother always says, many a political career is born at the school board.
Yes.
And it's very, I think, you do tend to get involved in school board when your kids are actually attending the schools.
Yes.
And I know that you're very involved with your daughter she's at USF, right?
She's at the University of Florida.
UF.
Yeah. And she's probably have a chance to talk about in a little bit, but
yeah.
I've always had a passion for conservation, and I've passed that along to her. So she's majoring in wildlife ecology and conservation up there at the University of Florida.
Cool.
And she's on their dance team.
Yeah.
She's on the Dazzlers team up there, and she's just loving that experience.
And I know you're spending a lot of time up there, you and Barbie, because Megan is involved in that dance team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're up there for, of course, football games, volleyball games. The Dazzlers do men and women's basketball, gymnastics, and a little bit of baseball as well. So those young ladies stay really busy.
It sounds like it, and sounds fun too.
A lot of fun.
What a great thing to follow in your footsteps, because I know that conservation has always been a big thing to you. The whole thing with ELAP and setting aside land, which if we don't, it'll be all built over, paved over and built over.
That's right. And Hillsborough County was on the cutting edge with our environmental lands program. We have around roughly 65,000 acres under conservation here in Hillsborough County. And that's huge because that gives families an opportunity to go and get fresh air, spend time in the great outdoors, do some hiking, bird watching, fishing, because we have a lot of rivers and creek systems that run through our ELAP lands, things like that. So I've been a huge proponent of ELAP.
And how fortuitous, because during the pandemic, one thing that we were graced with in Florida is that we have pretty much a year-round climate to be outside.
Yes.
But how great that we had all of those places for families who were to escape to and to get some break from what was going on.
So our ELAP lands were the first county amenities that were made available to folks during the COVID pandemic. So we were just fortunate to have that land set aside for future generations. Because you're right, Kim. Once it's gone, it's gone forever.
Well, I used to, I'm from the Midwest originally, up near Chicago, and went to school in Chicago. And the foresight of the person that bought all of the forest preserves, they're called forest preserves in that area, that bought that land and donated it, how that person had real vision, because if they hadn't done that, that land would all be gone. It would be developed, it would be paved over, it would be houses, it would be shopping complex, it would be something, right? It wouldn't be there anymore for people to enjoy. And you can still see wildlife, like we have. You can still see wildlife enjoying these areas. Absolutely.
And the person here that was really on the cutting edge was a former county commissioner who's now deceased, Jan Platt.
Yeah, Jan Platt.
And the ELAP program bears her name. It's the Jan K. Platt ELAP program. What a visionary.
Yeah.
And look where we are today.
Yeah, she was a visionary.
Absolutely.
She was a good commissioner.
Yep.
I know she and my mother were friends.
Yep.
Well, I wanted to spend some time taking a look back at the 8 years that you've been on the county commission, because you've had a lot of experiences in that 8 years, and I thought maybe you'd like to talk about or cover maybe your top 3 or top 5 or whatever number you come up with. It's okay with me, but I wanted to take a look back and say, how was that, and what did you learn from that? And
well, there's the old adage of when you're new at something that's kind of a monumental undertaking, there's the old adage of it's like drinking from a fire hose, right? So in a county of this size, you spend your first year or two as a commissioner really just learning the ropes and learning your way around. We're a county with a population of 1.5 million people roughly. Geographically, we're about 1,000 square miles in size. Hillsborough County, interestingly enough, is larger than several states in our country. So it takes a little while to get up and running and get your legs under you. So you spend a little time doing that. Of course, I made transportation a priority. We have Bell Shoals Road being widened, finally. We've done some great intersection projects, like right around Lumsden, Lithia Pinecrest, Durant, Bell Shoals, where they all come together. Of course, in Sun City Center, I had the county partner with the Florida Department of Transportation. Of course, Sun City Center Boulevard is a state road.
Right,
so,
674.
Right, 674. So FDOT was in town a number of years ago to resurface 674. But I had the county partner with FDOT and said, look, what can we do to try to get traffic flowing a little bit better? So we did some turn lane enhancements. We lengthened some of the turn lanes, made some of the turn lanes double turn lanes. I tell you, I was in Sun City Center the other day, and I noticed a difference. I think the project has made a difference. We're looking at roads like 19th Avenue. I've gotten a PD&E study off the ground to look at 19th. I've gotten a PD&E study off the ground for Lithia Pinecrest Road. We may have a funding opportunity there. We've gotten lots of roads resurfaced, so I'm proud of that work.
Well, we're grateful because, you know, we've been recently the recipient of repaved roads in Sun City Center
Yes.
and in South County, because everybody knows, you know, you'd have to be living under a rock not to know that all of the growth taking place has primarily, in Hillsborough County, has primarily been in East and South County.
East and South County has taken the brunt of it.
And we've taken
right
the brunt,
now.
but we didn't have the infrastructure. Our infrastructure hadn't changed in 30 years.
Yes.
So you know, until like 301 was widened. I mean, that's a dream road now. You know, 674 was repaved. I mean, everybody that lives down there wishes it was one more lane on each side. I won't kid you. We've had some of our roads repaved recently, thank goodness, because they were just. I mean, our emergency squad couldn't traverse at the speed they needed to because they would end up hurting the individual in the back of the ambulance.
Yeah.
That's how bad the roads were.
Yeah. So I don't want to throw previous county commissions under the bus.
No, we
'cause
don't,
I don't know exactly what they were dealing with at those times, but you know, I tell a lot of folks, and sometimes they're surprised to hear that a lot of the land in eastern and southern Hillsborough County was zoned a long time ago, back in the 80s, a lot of it, even as far back as the 70s in
Yep.
some cases. Now, some, of course, has been recently rezoned, but this current board, though, is really steadily attempting to dig out of a hole that we're in with infrastructure. We have some great water projects coming online to boost water pressure in South Hillsborough County. That's going to be huge. It's a partnership with the county and Tampa Bay Water. So we're going to have increased water pressures on the way. I've been proud to be involved in some library projects. We got a beautiful new Florida vernacular style library built for the Riverview community. We're just kicking off a rebuild of the Brandon Regional Library, and I've started putting some funding away for a new library in Fishhawk.
Oh, wow.
And that's something that Michael Owen can take a hold of
He'll
and
be
run
taking
with.
hold of that, yeah.
Another accomplishment that I'm very proud of is a new passive use park in Riverview. It's going to be on the Alafai River. It's going to be called Pebble Park.
Cool.
And we're going to be cutting the ribbon on Pebble Park in just about a month. It's going to have a great walking trail, a paved walking trail, some pavilions, an overlooking the river. It's going to be a fantastic amenity for Riverview. So if you're watching this and you live in the Riverview community, be sure in about a month to check out Pebble Park, which is right on Riverview Drive. It's on one of the curves. That curve's being converted to a roundabout, which will add a safety enhancement. And then, of course, the park amenity on the river. Very proud of that one.
You should be. If you're just joining me now and connecting with Kim, my guest in the chair today is Commissioner Stacy White. He's the commissioner for District 4. He will be our commissioner for about another 2 months. He's been term limited out, and we are sitting here reviewing his 8 years on the county commission and many of the projects that he's been involved in. And you know, Stacy, you're right. We don't want to throw previous commissions under the bus, but I think it can't be repeated often enough to the folks, particularly the new folks coming into the county who don't understand the history of our county, that many of the projects that you're seeing come to forefront now, again, were approved a long time ago, and I try to relate it. I always say to people, if you had land and you were planning for your retirement and you knew that you could someday sell that land and have that land developed, and that would be part of your retirement, right? Something you planned for. And now that's come to fruition. Do you think it would really be fair for the people of today to go back and say to you, that when you planned for your retirement for 30 years ago or whatever it was, to say, no, you can't have that now. You can't do that with that land. You can't, because we didn't keep up with the infrastructure. You can't have that plan. It's not, you can't do it that way. It doesn't work that way.
So not only is that unfair, it's actually unlawful.
Yeah, it's unlawful.
You can't take a density entitlement away from a landowner that already has that density entitlement. But look, I'm proud that I've been a part of some bipartisan initiatives to increase impact fees on developers so that we're doing a better job of having growth pay for itself. So in the future, that should keep us from getting back into this hole that we've gotten into. But we're steadily catching up. And it's probably a great time for me to mention the library projects, the park project that I mentioned.
The flyover?
The flyover, that's been huge. That's the flyover is the Apollo Beach Boulevard extension. It goes over I-75 and connects with 301. Of course, the county is widening Big Bend. I played a role in getting that sped up.
Yes.
It was,
Thank
had
goodness.
something like a 10-year horizon. So on that one, I partnered with a group of physicians and leadership with Baycare, because St. Joseph South is right there. And they sent a letter with my assistants to FDOT saying, look, this has become a public safety problem. We have doctors who are trying to get to this hospital facility for emergency cardiac procedures and things like that, and they just can't get there.
Right.
That got FDOT's attention. So the county's piece is we're widening Big Bend Road, and then FDOT is reconfiguring those interstate interchanges so that you don't have to make those awkward lefts onto the interstate anymore. It'll be right onto the interstate from either direction. And then you couple that with the Apollo Beach Boulevard flyover that you mentioned, that'll take some pressure off Big Bend. We're going to see huge improvements there in very little time.
I can't wait, because you have, it got to the point where you could not take Big Bend Road in the late afternoon. Anytime after 3 o'clock, you could forget it, because you have the high schools there, you have the hospital there, you have all the businesses that are coming in on that road now. You couldn't move.
Right, absolutely. And getting back to those library and parks projects, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the library projects in particular, we use dedicated funding sources for those. That it's dollars, it's a dedicated millage rate, and those dollars can only be used for libraries. So, we've been careful to make sure that we're making transportation a priority, but where we have funding available, like in our library fund, which is in very, very good shape, I've been able to do some great library projects out in east and southern Hillsborough County.
I'm glad that libraries are still a priority for people. We rely so much on this device and at home, but I'm glad to see that, because libraries fulfill a very important function in the community, and on top of that, they provide space where you can hold elections, you can have meetings, many other uses for a library that that the community can take advantage of.
So it's funny that you mention that, because we think of the library as a place where you store a bunch of books for people to go and check out, but the modern library is geared towards people to get connected with a tablet or other device or a computer, community gathering spaces, office space, things like that. So the modern library is really meant to, continue to allow people to be connected face to face, but also with the modern amenities of using tablets and computers and all this, high tech that we have
exactly,
today.
because not everybody has it in their household,
right.
And we need to make sure that they are connected and clued in, because it's not going away. Let's face it. It's only going to get more.
Yeah.
So these are wonderful, wonderful accomplishments in your 8 years. So what's ahead for you? I mean, we don't want you to leave public life. I think I can speak for a lot of people when I say that. But what's ahead for you? What's your goals and dreams? Everyone still has goals and dreams, so.
Yeah. Well, that's very kind of you, Kim, to say that. It's humbling to say that, for you to say that. But, as I mentioned, I'm a pharmacist professionally. I'm going to go back to the practice of pharmacy full time for a great nonprofit organization here in our community. I've been working part-time with them while on the commission. I'll be transitioning into a full-time pharmacist position. I guess it's okay for me to say that it's with Suncoast Community Health Centers, which is one of our community health center partners on the east side of the county. Tampa Family does a great job over on the west side of the county. We have two great community health center partners here in Hillsborough County, and I'm going to be a hometown pharmacist at their Plant City location.
I was going to ask you, where are you going to be? Is it going to be Plant City? I figured it might be.
Going to be at the Plant City location. You've probably seen the new facility in Waimama, the Suncoast facility. Of course, I helped to spearhead some funding for that. It's a great, great organization, serves a tremendous need in our community, and that's what I'm going to be up to for the foreseeable future. And we'll see if the people call on me to maybe do something in public life again at some point in the future.
Well, I'm pretty sure you can count on that myself. Yeah. But this will be a nice time for you to take a break. I mean,
Yeah.
after the school board and then 8 years on the commission, it's a nice to take a break and kind of reconnect
Yeah.
with your life. And we'll have to come over and visit you in Plant City because I love Plant City.
City.
It's such a great place.
Yeah, and the clinic where I'm going to be working is right by their historic district. They have a wonderful historic district in Plant City. Great restaurants.
Great restaurants.
Yeah. So for your viewers, you're looking for something fun to do. Historic Plant City is great, and a lot of fun to be in Plant City during the strawberry season as well.
Oh yeah, Plant City has a lot to offer, and their downtown area is wonderful, and the people are great in Plant City, and like you said, they have a lot of great restaurants in Plant City, so you can never go wrong with a visit to Plant City. Go over there for the afternoon or the morning and stay for lunch or whatever. So we'll be visiting you for sure. So what would you say as you look back? What are the three things you took away from your time on not only on the school board but on the commission, your life in public service?
Yeah, so one thing that I've taken away is that you have to build coalitions. Sometimes those coalitions are fluid, where you might have 2 or 3 commissioners that you can work with on one particular issue, maybe a couple of other different commissioners on other issues. But if you're not able to build alliances and coalitions, it's very difficult to get anything done. County commission positions are not executive branch positions. You're on a legislative body, 7 commissioners, and if you can't get to 4 votes on an issue, it's very difficult to get anything done. So, so when the board was controlled by my party, when I first joined, I was able to build coalitions there and get things done. But I'm also proud to say that when the board changed and control to the opposing party, that I was able to build bipartisan relationships and coalitions and continue to get things done as a commissioner. I'm proud of that.
You should be, because that's a testament to your ability to work with others.
Absolutely. Now, with that being said, you have to get to know staff and build relationships with staff. Sometimes you can get things done just by getting staff moving in a particular direction on your behalf. So that's a skill that I've acquired or obtained, not only as a school board member, but as a county commissioner as well. I feel like I had a little bit of a head start having served on the school board, because as I joined the county commission, I already had a sense for the necessity of building coalitions not only with fellow commissioners, but being sure that you have established relationships with staff members as well. So those are a couple critical things. And I guess the third thing I'd say I've learned is, there's the old concept of the bully pulpit. Sometimes you can get things done just by using that position as a platform to say certain things, get certain messages out there, and sometimes that elicits a response to that. And so I guess those 3 ways of being able to get things done are things that have just been valuable for me. And I'm sure that Michael's going to hit the ground running, and if he gets a chance to watch this or hears about it, I would say that those 3 things are important.
Well, I don't think he'll have any problem. Michael strikes me as a person who's a consensus builder.
Yes.
And has an ability to work with others. And it's pretty much the skills you need to succeed in life, right?
Yes.
I mean, no man is an island, and you cannot be successful in your life without the support and help of others. And I think it's and you got to be, and you're so likable. I don't think that hurts either, so I think that helps you too. And I just want to take this opportunity, I hope you don't mind, to give a huge shout out to your 2 aides that you've been blessed with. Megan Nixon We've worked a lot together, and I have appreciated Megan Nixon so much. And I know that she's going to be moving on into a new area in county government that is more of her, uses her education and her interests. But we've appreciated her so much. And David Garcia. They've both been wonderful people to work with, and I know they have really admired and respected you, and I know have been a great help and support to you.
Well, the feeling's mutual. You know, a county commissioner is only as good as his or her legislative aides. I've been blessed to have such a great staff, a great team in the District 4 office. As you mentioned, Megan has earned her master's degree in urban planning while she was in my office. She's recently gotten the AICP certification, so she's going to be moving over to the staff side of the county and doing a great job in our planning department. And David Garcia is going to be staying on board with Commissioner-elect Michael Owen, so he'll continue to be a legislative aide in the District 4 office, which, by the way, will give Michael a great head start because David will bring that institutional knowledge to the office. So I'm very proud of both of them. Just so thankful to have them on the team all these years.
Oh, yeah.
Glad they've both found those landing places.
Oh, yeah, we are too. We're happy for both of them. So we only have about a minute left.
Okay.
So I just want you to be sure to say any remaining thing that you want to say in the time we have left, because they're going to make me wrap it up.
Well, listen, I live in this community. I'm deeply rooted in this community. First and foremost, I just want to say that it's been an honor to serve the people of this county. A little bit of unfinished business. One thing I didn't get to mention is that I've worked with Congressman Vern Buchanan's office in an effort to get the Little Manatee River designated as a scenic river under the Federal Wild and Scenic Rivers Act. I hope that that will come to fruition. Still have some great things moving on the ELAP front. So stay tuned. I think that Michael Owen will do a great job in continuing with those things. And again, it's just been a tremendous honor to serve.
Well, thank you, Stacy, for being my guest today on Connecting with Kim. It's our last time to be together in this capacity.
Yes.
I hope it won't be the last time ever. But I really appreciate you making the time to be with us today.
Thank you.
So that's all we have time for today on Connecting with Kim. Again, I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, the Spring of Tampa Bay. And you can go check out my Facebook and my Instagram account where you can receive detailed information on my on-air wardrobe. They do a great job of helping survivors of domestic violence. So come back next week when we'll have another great edition of Connecting with Kim. Stay safe, take care, and enjoy our little corner of paradise, because it is paradise.